There is a very inspirational, popular quote on social media these days. It says, "Your life is your message to the world." And I think for me personally, SDP, Sports for Development, is what my life is all about. It is the reason that I have been able to get where I am. Uh, the story starts at me being just about 2 years old. I met with a terrible accident that had an impact to the brain, dilatation of the ventricles. Now, all of that led to hemiplegia on the left side of my body, uh, complete disuse of my left limbs. And one of the major concerns with the doctors was, is this going to be progressive? Is this going to is she going to recover? Or and also because I was just about 2, they weren't very sure if it's going to have further impact on speech development, IQ development. So throughout the formative years, it was just a very difficult time for my family because it was a wait and watch situation for them, and it was constant visits to the physiotherapist, constant visits to the psychiatrist, child psychiatrist, to check my IQ over and over. And at that point, my parents decided that one way to holistically develop the child and to ensure that she's not left out of her own social circles because of her challenges, and also, of course, to ensure occupational therapy for recovery, is to engage in sports. So from a very young age, sports was introduced into my daily routine, into my lifestyle. And as I grew older, obviously it made a positive impact. I recovered to an extent where obviously the permanent impact continues. I have spasticity on the left side of my body. I have weakness. I have a balance issue. But overall, it has led me to be at a position today where I stand before you with an international medal at the Grand Prix event last year, 2014. That's a picture of me receiving my first international medal ever. So that's what sports has done for me personally. So my journey with sports is a very personal one. And going forward, this is another lady that I want to talk to you about. About 16 years ago, she had a tumor in her spinal cord, the removal of which caused paralysis, which there was no going back from. And it was predicted that she would be spending the rest of her life in the confines of the home, as is the stereotype for many people with disabilities. But she decided to take up swimming as one of her rehabilitative measures and eventually took to para sports. And today, as a para athlete, she has traveled 13 countries, won 13 international medals, and she has been decorated with the highest national award for sports by the President of India. And she also is my mother. So for me, like I said, we are a family nurtured by sports for development. And together we realized that providing these opportunities in sports for development, in outdoor activities, in parasports to people with disabilities allows for building a positive self-esteem. It allows for nurturing spaces where people can share their concerns, where people can develop peer groups, because oftentimes people with disabilities are deprived of these because their families like to keep them in comfortable and safe home environments. So this is what we believe at our foundation, Wheeling Happiness. We basically look at providing outdoor activities, opportunities in parasports, facilitating participation in adventure sports and parasports, and any outdoor activity that a person is willing to engage in or should be motivated to engage in, we try to provide these opportunities to them. And we have seen that this has led to not just people coming out, but also in myriad ways, it provides them with educational opportunities, it provides them with employment opportunities. So recently we conducted this Inclusive Sports Day event. This is a wheelchair race taking place. The amazing thing about this day was it wasn't just people with disabilities. It was inclusive in the sense that there were students from mainstream schools as well as special schools. So they had this common ground for interaction, and they really cheered each other on, and they were rooting for each other. And what we saw is, when you bring people with and without disabilities onto a common ground, they have the opportunity to be sensitized towards each other. They have the opportunity to understand the challenges faced by us. And it leads to a decrease in the prejudice. It leads to, it mitigates the challenge of social exclusion, which is a big concern in many cultures, including ours. Like I said, both my mother and I suffered a disability, and unfortunately, we are in a society where there are still myths associated with disability being a curse, with disability being a consequence of bad karma in your previous birth. So when you come out of that and you're recognized as achievers, not just me, it's both my mother and I, we are nationally recognized as achievers. So that tells you the power that sport has. That is the power that play has. It is not just about winning medals. It is not just about coming first, second, or third. It's about how sport empowers your life beyond the playing field. And with that ideology, we have moved forward. It is with that we do all of our work. And this sports day that I was talking to you about, I met exceptional young boys and girls here. This for one is Sunita. She won the wheelchair race that I was showing you earlier. So you can imagine her sense of exhilaration. You can imagine her being applauded in that setting, how it made her feel like the star of the day, not just someone on a wheelchair who needs help to even, get a glass of water. But, and also I learned that she has participated in and successfully completed 2 marathons. So I think that's 2 more than a lot of us. And another boy I met is Ashok. He has an intellectual challenge. He's 23 years old. But the continuous socialization that participating in sports has provided to him, through that he is now enrolled in mainstream education in the 7th grade. And the most inspiring thing about that day was he told me that he wants to study to be an architect so that he can design inclusive stadiums, because that is his passion. He loves sport and he recognizes that accessibility is an issue. Now for a lot of us, if we understand our limitations, that also becomes a limitation in the larger scheme of affairs, because you know what you cannot do and you let that hold you back. But what was so inspiring about this boy, it was that he only just talked about what he wanted to do. He wanted to study to be an architect. He does not know whether he can or cannot do that. But he is out there and he is willing to use his passion to achieve what he wants to. So all in all, I think the example of my own family, these examples of these little children who have been nurtured through sport, it tells me that sports breaks down prejudices. It tells me that sport is not only, we all know that it has a grand effect on people's lives in terms of a healthy lifestyle, exercise, but I think it is especially empowering for people with challenges, and it also helps us to promote the value of inclusive infrastructure in a country like India or other developing countries, where authorities really have to be persuaded into looking into that aspect of accessibility and inclusion. And specifically to talk about Asia, where the reports say that 1 in 6 people faces a disability. That is a very strong statistic, and most of us have either faced a disability or have encountered someone with a disability in our lives. And coupling that with the statistic of 1 in 6 people facing a disability, I think it really tells us that it is not just an option but an urgent factor for us to act on, to include people with disabilities into the mainstream. And one of the best ways to do that, one of the most empowering ways to do that, is through sport. Thank you.